Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Flagrant Talk Sports Podcast. It's me, Isaiah, here with my favorite co host, Mr. Moses Firmino.
What's up, everybody?
And we did the NFC video last week, predicting the standings 4-1. And we're back with a new video today for the AFC this time around. So if you didn't see our NFC video, you can go check that out. If you want to just skip around to your favorite team, we don't judge. That's totally okay. So we're going to be doing the same thing today. I don't know Mo's list. He doesn't know mine. We're going to go from 4-1, and we'll kind of move the list around when we have disagreements. But Mo, we'll get it started with the AFC North, and this is going to be a tough one.
Yeah, probably the hardest division in the AFC to rank. And I'm going to start it off with the solid team who is coming with the new look on the offensive side of the ball. I got the Pittsburgh Steelers rounding it out in the 4th spot for the North. Obviously, dangerous Russell Wilson taking over the helm as quarterback. Still got a solid defense, DPOY candidate TJ Watt. But I just think the other teams in this division are quite a bit better. Yeah.
So I have the Steelers at 4 as well. However, I don't think the other teams are quite a bit better. And
really,
I say this because for a couple reasons. One, Mike Tomlin. There's a couple things in life that are guaranteed. It's death, it's taxes. It's if Mike Tomlin is coaching the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're going above 500. So by default, I've got them at 4. I still think they're a shoo-in for 9 wins.
Yeah.
And it's the reality of it. I also think they have, it might not be top 5, but it is certainly 6, 7, 8. It's top 8 defenses in all of football. They were capable of making the postseason last year with a terrible quarterback performance with Pickett, Mason Rudolph. It just was not serious.
Yeah.
No matter what you think about Russ, he'll be the first one to say the Broncos experience was a failure. He is still an upgrade at the most important position. Solid run game with Najee and Warren. So I have them at 4. But I think there really is a world, and I truly mean this, where all 4 of these teams make the postseason.
Yeah, they could. They definitely could.
So we'll see. I say this just as, the Steelers are 4th. That does not mean they're not a very good program. So
100%.
Got them there. At 3, I have a feeling we're going to agree here. Got a team that made the playoffs last year, the Cleveland Browns. Are they your 3rd?
I have the Cincinnati Bengals at 3.
Oh, I thought I cut out for a minute. Mo. Okay, you start this off then. You start this off.
Yeah, so we all know the Bengals were not themselves last year. Injuries plagued their team and plagued their biggest player in Joe Burrow. But I think the Browns are going to continue what they started last year with Joe Flacco manning their quarterback room, and now they got Sean back in business, which whether you like him or hate him, he's out there working, feeling loose, feeling free. But the Bengals, obviously, they're an amazing team, one of the best receiving cores in the league. They stole Trent Brown from us, which really sucks. So bolstered the offensive line a little bit. Not too many moves on the defensive side of the ball, which is kind of what worries me with the Bengals here. But they still are. I expect them to make the playoffs. I have them at 3, but I'm
Wow.
expecting them to be a playoff team.
Wow. So relative to our last video, we agreed on quite a bit. That one caught me for a loop. Um, I'll
Yeah.
dissect real quick why I have the Browns at 3, and then I'll get into the Bengals. So last year when we did this, I was really high on Cleveland, and
Mhm.
I said they felt like a playoff team, but it's gonna come down to the play of Deshaun Watson. He will never be the Texans version again. That is a fact. We've seen it. He's not very good. But
Yep.
can he be a middling tier quarterback in the
Mhm.
NFL?
Mhm.
If he's capable of that, this could be a Super Bowl team. Like because
Yeah.
of that defense, he has the weapons on offense.
Yep.
Um, I said the recipe last year was Deshaun. It was Nick Chubb dominating, and it was their defense. This year, it's different because I'm looking at them differently.
Yeah.
I think they are a playoff level team again because I know no matter how ass Deshaun Watson is, they will still be capable of being all right.
Yeah.
They've still got it.
Mhm.
He's not going to be great. He might be fine. He'll have a great drive every here and there. Deshaun Watson is gone. The one that, was he used to be in Mahomes talks. That's gone.
Yeah.
That quarterback is gone. But that
Yeah.
defense is still intact, and what got them to the
Unreal.
playoffs didn't show up in the postseason, but through the regular season was there.
Yep.
And even without Nick Chubb losing him last year, I thought it was done for
Mhm.
Cleveland. And they showed, hey, next man up. Jerome Ford stepped up, was a viable back. They were able to do enough. So I just trust that even with similarly to Pittsburgh, regardless of quarterback play, they will be all right.
Yeah.
Um, so I've got them at 3. Cincy,
Mhm.
I've got it 2. So I've got them a spot ahead. Agree, they're a playoff team. Joe Burrow being back is great. My mentality, they won 9 games last year, and that was with Burrow missing plenty of time. And that
Yeah.
offense, the rest of the quarterback play not being great.
Yeah.
My philosophy is if you won 9 games last year without him through most of the year, that they're capable of winning 10 or 11 games this year. Um,
Once we well, I guess we have our list. I'll
yeah.
tell you exactly what I have. I have the Bengals at 11-6. I have the Browns at 12-5,
Wow.
and I have the Ravens at 14-3.
So I also had the Ravens at 14-3. I,
Yep.
I am very high. So I think what's interesting about this, at least listening to you, it feels like you're just higher on Cleveland
Yeah,
than
I
you are
am.
down on Cincinnati.
I'm worried about I don't know. I'm worried about Joe a little bit. I the Browns, obviously Nick Chubb, big piece coming back from a devastating, horrific injury.
Hmm.
They really deepened their running back room, signing
Yeah.
Foreman and Naheem Hines, who are
Hmm.
two solid options. Nothing to blow the barn
No.
doors off, but they'll get you through. And they still have Jerome Ford, obviously, who absolutely popped off, fantasy legend for
Hmm.
a couple weeks there last season.
Absolutely.
They added Jerry Judy, who I know he has been atrocious in Denver, but he has shown flashes that he can be a really solid wide receiver. So I think they got some a little bit more depth there. I'm liking the Browns. I'm high. The
Okay.
defense, man, that defense is
Hmm.
oh, it's just absurd.
Wow. I listen. I gotta respect it. I'm really curious to see what people think about because I already said it. I think all 4 of these are playoff caliber teams.
Yeah.
Even if all 4 don't make it,
Hmm.
and maybe 3 of them, I mean 3 made it last year. So I don't see a world where 3 teams out of these 4 don't make the playoffs again this year. I think Baltimore's a lock for me. They're just great, and then you add Derrick Henry. Like, we can talk about we've totally neglected them, but I think it's
Yeah,
because
I
we
think
do
yeah.
just agree that they're one.
Yep.
Um, that team's gonna be amazing. I mean, there's no. It's kind of like how we talked about San Francisco
Yep.
last time, and when we get to Kansas City, we're gonna run into the same thing. I just know who you are. I
Mhm.
know what you're gonna be. I know you're a capable team. You can beat guys with multiple ways. You now add Derrick Henry to that run game.
Mhm.
And they were looking for that answer. Gus Edwards spent time. J.K. Dobbins couldn't stay healthy. You now have a running back who is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Um, doesn't matter the tread on his tires. Doesn't
Mhm.
matter. He's
For sure.
he's at least got another year or two of really decent production in him.
My my one worry with Baltimore, I could be mixing this up. They lost their defensive coordinator, right, to Seattle. He became Seattle's head coach.
Yes, right?
I
Or
don't
was it
think it was the offensive. I believe it was the defensive coordinator, and their defense last season was
so good?
unbelievable. So that's definitely a little worrying if you're a Ravens fan,
Yeah.
but without that in mind, they should still be top of this division.
Um, by the way, you are right. Mike
Okay.
McDonald went to Seattle.
Yep.
Um, yes, after
Okay.
spending 9 of the last 10 years with Baltimore.
Wow.
So that
Yeah.
is a tried and true part of your
Mhm.
system.
Yep.
It's one of the struggles with being a good team.
For
We
sure.
saw that with the Eagles when they made the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and then you lose all your coordinators, like, you're kinda stripped of the bolts because all those guys get opportunities, rightfully so.
Yeah.
Um, and we saw what Shane Steichen could do already in his brief time away from Philly.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I like it's kind of interesting because last year I was the guy higher on the Browns than
Yeah.
you, and now
Yeah.
this
Now
year
we're
it feels like
flipped.
you're higher than me, and
Yeah.
that it is what it is.
Mhm.
But we'll move on now to your division. Take us away. Take us away.
Last, but certainly not least, my song is going to tie into this, so stay tuned, Patriots fans. New England Patriots are going to be the fourth team in the AFC East.
Yeah,
They may potentially be the last place team in the entire AFC, but we did get Drake May. We did get Jalen Polk. The opportunities are there. Now, will Drake May start? Probably not. Jacoby Brissett probably has that title wrapped up. And kind of like we talked about in the NFC vid, I am not mad at that. Please don't throw Drake May into a fire that is not worth saving.
no,
Um, it's going to be a rough year. Obviously, we have a very good defense. There have been some issues there in the offseason with Judon.
yeah,
But we did re-sign a lot of key pieces in the offseason. Kyle Duggar, Jabril Peppers. We signed a lot of good, solid pieces who performed really well last year for us to longer term deals. Which keeps me motivated for future seasons to maybe work
mhm,
our way back into a wild card spot. But it is going to be a rough, odd, tough first year for Gerard Mayo and all of New England. Um, it sucks, but I gotta come back to earth after last year trying to will us into a wild card spot, knowing we damn well weren't gonna do jack. So I'm gonna save face here and take my L.
So I agree. I agree.
Yep.
Um, everything you said. There's no more Bill Belichick. That era is done. So this is a new age. No Brady, no Bill. We're gonna see what the Patriots can do. Obviously, Robert Kraft is still there, but
Yep.
for all intents and purposes, the three dominoes of that team, two of them are gone. Um, and yeah, I just it's gonna be a rough year. But what are friends for if not to be a little bit optimistic about their team? Here's the world where things don't go horrifically bad. Top 10 defense in the league,
Yep.
maybe fringe
Very
top
possible.
5.
Yeah.
I think it's possible. I could see a
Mhm.
world where that happens.
Mhm.
Christian Gonzalez is my guy.
Thank
So,
gosh he's coming back. Thank
I'm
goodness, because our secondary was getting screwed when
dude,
he as soon as he got injured. He was
it
he was locked in for defensive rookie of the year, I think, if he stayed healthy.
he was incredible.
That's a
He was
different
so
story
good.
for a different day. Yeah.
Um, but let me know if this reminds you of another team.
Okay.
A rookie quarterback goes on to take his rookie head coach in the AFC and surprises everyone and makes the playoffs. And doesn't just make the playoffs, but wins a playoff game. It's the Houston Texans right here last year. Do those things sound familiar?
A
Um,
little bit. A little
now
bit.
listen, is
Mhm.
this copium? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolute. This is not like,
Yes.
listen, I hate everyone using the Texans as like, oh, well, this happened, so boom. Like the
They
Bears will
got the
do
same
the
colors. Okay.
like, dude, yeah. Yeah, like I mean, listen, there's no world where it doesn't happen. Uh realistically, it's not gonna pin out that way, but
Yeah.
that's the path. The other path, I don't wish injuries on any player. Aaron Rodgers is going to be old coming off of a devastating injury. Tua's health luck is not been great. Last year was better. And the Bills don't have Stephon Diggs, and that defense is slowly crippling away. That's the path for New England, but I don't think it's one to bank on.
For sure. It's a weird time in New England.
Certainly is.
Yeah.
With 3, and again, the AFC East, the AFC is so good.
So good.
I think there are 3 playoff teams here
Yeah,
potentially again.
there should
Um,
be.
my 3rd team, I'll get us started, rip the Band-Aid off. I've got the New York Jets,
Okay.
and I think it's really, really difficult with these 3 because I think they are pretty equal in terms of how strong I feel about the 3 of them. But I've got the Jets here strictly off the vibes being off. And as a Packers fan, I've experienced these vibes and they are linked to the same person. And
That's
it's
weird.
weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, dude, yeah, whatever. But it's just not right. Now, the argument for the Jets being awesome and even winning this division, you won 7 games last year.
Yep.
That is with no Aaron Rodgers, with a disaster in Zach Wilson, getting
Yep.
booed at home, with Mike White getting legitimate run as your starting
Mhm.
quarterback and being cheered and then booed by the Jets.
Yep.
You won 7 games. You have potentially 2 defensive player of the year guys on your defense in Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams.
Mhm.
That defense is going to be stellar.
Yeah.
Even if Aaron Rodgers is 50% of Aaron Rodgers next year, they still should be a team that wins 9, 10 games.
Yep.
I just feel a little more strong about the other 2 teams. It's really what it boils down to.
I agree. I went back and forth on this spot for a while, that them and the team I have at 2, but I settled on the Jets being at 3 just because of what you said. Vibes have been weird. Um, they have the pieces on defense. They have Brees Hall coming back. They got the pieces on offense,
Mhm.
but Aaron Rodgers is a major question mark, and I'm just not really liking what I've seen so far in this offseason. Even though the team that we are probably going to talk about next is in a kind of similar position with a little bit of a rough offseason, I think that for the Jets, it was even more so. So,
Yeah, and I think too, the next team we're gonna talk about, while not having the alpha in the way that the Jets do, you have Garrett Wilson and Mike Williams. Outside of that, it's pretty bad.
yeah.
And you might have to rely on like an Alan Lazard. good luck. Like, it's just not. And I like Mike Williams. He
Mhm.
hasn't been able to stay healthy. That's been the whole knock on him. And
Yeah.
he can't control that, but it's a fact. It's something you
Mhm.
have to discuss. So
Yeah.
for those reasons, I just feel a little worse about it. It really does come down to Aaron coming off of that big of an injury.
Yeah.
Um,
That old.
at that age, yeah, like it would be tough for a player like Bryce Young to go through it, let alone someone older,
Mhm.
um, in the twilight years of their career. So
Yep.
got the Jets at 3. At 2, you kind of alluded to them. Is this who we're talking about? Okay.
Buffalo!
Buffalo, the Buffalo Bills. Why do you have them at 2?
Kinda hinted at it, but they lost a considerable amount of talent from this team. While they did try to combat that with some pretty solid signings. Chase Claypool, thank you for correcting me last time, but Curtis Samuel, the oddball Mac Hollins,
Oddball.
MVS, and a couple of good defensive signings, but they're getting a little older on the defensive end. You know, they re-sign Jordan Poyer? I thought he got a 1 year. I guess I'm tripping.
Mm,
I don't see it on here, so I guess I'm
I
tripping, but I
don't
thought I
think so.
saw that
Yeah.
somewhere. Um, just it's they don't have a guy anymore. Stephon Diggs is gone. After all of the stuff that was going on last year, him mad at Allen mad at him. Just a lot of discourse going on off the field that they needed to settle, and they did with the trade to Houston. But they obviously have Josh Allen, who I haven't mentioned yet, who is a
Yep.
considerable MVP favorite. I like this Bills roster a little bit more than the Jets. I'm a little bit more comfortable with putting them at 2.
Yeah, and Jordan Poyer did. He left. He joined this team actually at number 1.
No
So
way.
that that is why he is not in
That's
Buffalo.
dirty. That's
Um
dirty.
I've got the Bills at 2 as well. And I think here's the thing. They have the best quarterback in the division. This is to me the second best quarterback in football in Josh Allen. I think behind Mahomes, I would have Allen personally. So you've got him. In that same note, you also have the worst defense in your division.
Yeah.
So those two things are both going at each other. I think when it comes to you picking a team, who do you trust more? Yeah, that defense is not going to be great. Again, I don't
Yeah.
think it'll be the worst in the league, but
Uh,
it's not going to be great. It's not something they're going to hang their hat on.
for
Um,
sure.
and I think in terms of a wide receiver approach, it reminds me of my Green Bay Packers, where you just have a variety of different quality guys who are all good at different things. Like
Yep.
Curtis can be a gadget guy, Khalil can take the top off the defense, or
Yep.
MVS is going to take the top off the defense. You're going to have Khalil, who is explosive when the ball is in his hands, as you know,
Mm-hmm.
Boise State legend.
Yep.
So you've got him. I am not concerned about the Stephon Diggs departure as much as other people, primarily because he really struggled that second half and was non-existent in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
The past couple weeks of the regular season, he was almost phased out of the offense.
Yeah.
Um, I think it hurts them from a sense of having the name when defenses are game planning for Buffalo. Stephon Diggs is the top name they're going to talk about. And so he's
Yep.
going to draw the attention, but he wasn't putting the production up to deserve that almost.
Yeah.
Um, so it's why I have them at 2. This really comes down to me trusting Josh Allen and what he does. So I've got them at 2, which means we both have Jordan Poyer and the Miami Dolphins at 1
That is
in the
so
AFC
crazy.
East.
Don't forget Chop Robinson. Um,
Chop. Robinson, baby. Come on, man.
This team, man, we know what they got offensively.
Yep.
They added a couple guys on that end as well, a couple extensions to Waddle and Raheem Mostert. But they stole Isaiah Wynn from us as well. Shaq Barrett, expat. They just signed a bunch of expatriates, is
Mhm.
what I noticed
They
when I
did.
was going through this. But they made a lot of really great moves, strengthened themselves on both sides of the ball, and the Dolphins are really scary, I think.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think I love Javon Holland as well in that secondary. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
again, we talk about their offense all the time, and
Yep.
obviously, as you should, their ability to just beat you in so many ways because so many guys have explosive plays. Like it's something that a team we'll talk about in a bit with the Chargers simply does not have. The Dolphins have multiple guys. You could have a two-play drive that ends in a Tyreek Hill touchdown.
Yep.
Same with Waddle. Same with A-Chain. Same with Mostert. Like
It's
other teams just
nasty.
don't. Yeah, they don't
Yeah.
have that, and
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't hurt them that their defense is also really solid. They're not a one-trick pony in that department as well,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, hey, if our offense isn't clicking, we're screwed. That isn't the case with Miami, and it's why I have them at first. I trust them. I think they're going to be dangerous. Um, they're going to have to win cold games in the playoffs to advance.
Yep.
I get it's a topic that has been talked about a lot, but it's true.
Hopefully
You've got
Tua's been in the cryo chamber getting
yeah, yeah, not on his Antonio Brown freezing his
Yeah.
his legs, but you're gonna need it,
Get
buddy.
used to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's or just getting the 1 seed.
Yeah.
That's the other
Basically.
alternative.
Yep.
I'm saying you gotta come here and play in
Mm-hmm.
Miami in the playoffs,
Mm-hmm.
and that genuinely might have to be the path,
Yeah.
and even then,
So
um,
crazy. Well, yeah, to be determined.
yeah, but yeah, it's a tough division, 3 playoff teams, and that 4th one at least has the defense to make things tough for you.
For sure.
So, we'll
Not gonna be
see.
a walk in the park, I
No,
hope.
no, go Pats for my good friend Mo. Um, on to the AFC South that had the
Yeah.
most surprising team in football last year, the Houston Texans winning the division and
Mm-hmm.
advancing in the playoffs by knocking off the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
Um, who have you got at last this time around?
Last in this division for me is the Tennessee Titans.
Yep.
We just found out that DeAndre Hopkins is down for 4 to 6 weeks with a knee injury. And I had them at fourth before knowing that. So that is only adding to my list of reasons of why I have them here. Uh, all right, draft. I guess they got what they needed, but nothing cows are going to move about. Tony Pollard coming over from Dallas. Calvin Ridley as well coming over from Jacksonville. They made some moves, but I think the 3 teams in this division have gotten a lot stronger and are just going to be a little bit better than the Titans this season.
Yeah, to give them some credit, love the luxurious Snead pickup on
Mm-hmm.
defense. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
a really big loss for Kansas City. Excuse me. So you lose him. I love the JC Latham draft pick. Having that solidified on your offensive line, he's a versatile guy who you can move around. Um, I just this is an old team, man. When you look at Ridley, D Hop, even Tyler Boyd, like they're
Yeah,
they're just older. Is there a world where they're decent? Yes,
for
but
sure.
I think there is kind of a cap to how good they can be.
Yeah.
Um, and I think the other 3 teams in this division are just better, is
Yep.
really what it comes down to.
Yep.
But Will Levis is gonna have the opportunity. The keys are in his hand to say,
Mhm.
"Hey, you can be the starting guy." I think it's possible that he can fill a Ryan Tannehill type role,
Yeah.
and be the quarterback going forward. So
Yeah. 100%.
I just think it's the other 3 are better, is really what it boils down to.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, and with that next team, I'll take this one because I don't quite know. The 3 and 2 were very tough for me. And this could be me being blinded a bit by how angry I was last year.
I'm right there with you if we're blind.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Again, uh, if if the Jaguars can't make the playoffs this year, I think we're gonna start hitting a button. I think we're gonna be a little concerned about Trevor Lawrence
Yep.
and his cap. I
Uh-huh.
think we'll be worried about Doug Peterson, and if he's the guy, this was a team I had winning the AFC South last year that I said could give the Chiefs a run for their money and be the 1 seed in the AFC. And, for
They
a
were they
little
they were on
while,
track. They were on track to.
I I felt like a genius. I'm like, "Oh my goodness, what a take. Wow." And, we know how that ended. So, we'll see. But yeah, I've got the Jags at 3. I also just feel stronger about the team at 2. Um
I do as well, and this could be from you talking about this guy back when he was drafted and hype him up and him coming out
Mhm.
hot, then getting injured, but I
Let's
really
do it.
like this Colts team, man.
Yes,
I
brother.
I really am a fan of this roster. Anthony Richardson with showing flashes before getting knocked out with a couple
Mhm,
sad injuries, but they mm, um re-signed Michael Pittman, brought in Trey Sermon,
mhm,
lots of moves on defense, re-signing DeForest Buckner,
mhm.
Raekwon Davis, Grover Stewart re-signed. Just a lot of great moves for this team in the offseason. And their draft, they'd probably have the steal of the draft and Laiatu Latu. I probably butchered that.
No, you got it.
He is a dog.
Yes.
Absolute dog. Adonai Mitchell in the second round as well is going to be a
Love it.
stud. This team is geared up for to make some noise in the AFC South, I think, this season.
I fully agree. For those who don't know, I am a big time Anthony Richardson believer. Was
Mhm.
really, really high on him coming out of Florida. We've seen how good CJ Stroud is. He's the bar in that draft class, obviously. But
Yeah.
I think Anthony Richardson has that, and I think we are so lucky to see those 2 battle over the next year, hopefully 10 years.
Mhm.
Um, hoping they both can stay healthy. I agree with everything you said. I think this Colts team is just quality. I think they have great coaching. They were right in the playoff mix with Gardner Minshew, who I have to give credit to, did he kept them afloat. He kept them afloat, and that's more than a lot of those other teams who lost their quarterback last year can say.
Yeah.
When you look at the Jets, or if you look at some of those teams, Minshew did enough to keep them afloat. And Anthony Richardson showed some of those flashes at the next level last year. I think back to that Rams comeback where
Yeah.
it was like, wow, this guy's got the tools. And that's why I was so high on him to begin with, is he has those plays in his arsenal that you cannot teach. It
Mhm.
is just straight talent, straight athleticism,
Yep.
using his arm, using his quickness, his body, that other quarterbacks just can't, no matter how many years they are trained. And I'm high on this Colts team. I flirted with them at 1. I really, really did. But I had to respect the Texans, baby.
What an offseason for Houston.
Absolutely.
Draft, free agency, all of it. Joe
Absolutely.
Joe Mixon, Stephon Diggs, re-signed Nico Collins, re-signed Dalton Schultz, Danielle Hunter coming over from the Vikings on defense.
Love that.
Just Mike Ford coming, just a bunch of signings on both ends of the ball. They're going, even though they won the division last year, they went out and made moves and bolstered this team even more. Because I didn't have them winning it last year. I'm confident this year that they will win the
Yeah.
South.
It like you said too, they didn't settle.
Yep.
They didn't say, "Okay, we did enough. We did enough. We'll run it back." And for a lot of guys, that would have been okay. If your offseason ended, hey, we're gonna re-sign Nico, we're gonna re-sign our guys. We're not gonna, make a move for Diggs or sign Mixon because we feel good enough. We can retain our guys.
Yeah.
They did that and added talent. And that for me is why I still have them at 1.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can't say enough good things about Stroud, about the story of the Texans and the post Deshaun Watson era panning out this way.
Yeah.
I thought it was so dumb what they did trading their first round pick, what would have been this previous season to get Will Anderson and Stroud. I'm like, what are you doing? You're going to be a bad team. Don't give up your first round pick, as we saw with the Panthers. The Texans said, you don't need to worry about us.
We're good.
We're good. We're going to
Yeah.
make the playoffs. So that's a late first rounder we traded for Will Anderson, who is going to be a stud for years to come.
Mm-hmm.
I just love what they did. Again, I talked about Diggs previously and some of the negatives. I think being in Houston brings some new life. It brings some new energy, some juice. I like the mix and pickup. This is going to be a great team.
Yeah.
And I trust them over the Colts simply because I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it. The proof is in the
Mm-hmm.
pudding, and they only
Yep.
got better.
They're
So,
legit, man.
absolutely. And that leads us to the final division we're going to talk about, the Chiefs division. Sorry, the AFC West. Um,
Can we
yeah,
start?
let's just start with one. I
Let's
mean,
start there.
um,
What do we need to say? Carson Wentz signed a 1-year deal. Um,
I, uh, okay, how do I hit the panic button? They lost L'Jarius Sneed. That's
that
a pretty
that that
big
hurts.
loss.
Yeah, that hurts. But
Yeah,
Patrick Mahomes did draft Tyreek Hill 2.0. They did bring on Hollywood Brown. Um, they re-signed Chris Jones, which was the
the
biggest
big
pressing
one.
need of their
Now,
offseason.
if they would have lost him, I would have been okay. That that's not a Tyreek Hill loss. I thought they would have been okay without Tyreek. I didn't think
Yeah,
they'd be this good still.
yeah.
But yeah, they just brought him back, so
Mm-hmm.
it's
This
gone.
this team is I'm not really sure what else we need to say about him,
No.
but they're
Yeah,
one, and they're probably one in the AFC, and they're probably one in the Super Bowl. They're one. They are number one.
uh yeah. And what's crazy is like I picked Philadelphia last year, as did you,
I
hilariously
fell into
enough.
the trap. I fell into the trap.
And what we said at the time was you better get Kansas City this year because they're only going to get better next year. And they did. Like, this man Mahomes was making it work with Juju Smith as his wide receiver 1. This dude was or at wide receiver 1. Kelsey was, still the number 1 option, but Wide receiver 1 is him. Now you add Hollywood speed, Xavier Worthy speed. You still have Travis Kelce, who showed you in the playoffs. He's still fine.
He's good.
He's good.
Yeah.
Still have Chris Jones. Yes, the loss of Snead hurts, but it is what it is. We said it back in the Super Bowl vid, and nothing has changed. The Chiefs are a dynasty, and until they show me otherwise in the playoffs, they're the best team in football. I will not pick against them. It's the same treatment I gave to your guy in Tom Brady.
Yep. It's official. Like, if it hasn't been official, it's official.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's done. So
Yep.
it is what it is. But now we can talk about 4.
Okay.
Now we can talk about the other guys.
Yep. The opposite
Um,
side.
Who do you got it for?
Went back and forth on this one, but I have the Denver Broncos at 4.
I do too.
Quarterback is a big fat question mark. Obviously drafted Bo Nix, but they have Jarrett Stidham and they also have Zach Wilson. So that three-headed monster is battling it out for quarterback 1 in Denver. But
Yeah.
it obviously was a really tough year last year with Russ. And I don't see it getting that much better. They didn't really do too much. I mean, they paired Nix with Troy Franklin, a guy at Oregon who had over 1,000 yards and was an unbelievable wideout. But I don't even know if Nix is going to be their starter, so that point could be invalid. So I don't really know what to expect from this Broncos team. Not a lot is what I got for them.
Yeah. I have them at 4 as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny. I think it's really interesting with the Knicks pick because it is the most Sean Payton possible outcome of, yeah, I had all those years with Drew Brees. I'm going to get another guy. It's going to be a lot of checkdowns, screens, bubble screens, short plays. He's going to stay consistent, just remain accurate. And Drew Brees was more than that. I'm not trying to talk down on Brees, but I'm saying the
Mm-hmm.
philosophy that he has as a head coach and the way he uses his quarterback is that what was Bo Nix great at Oregon? All of those things.
Yep.
The short game. That's
Yep.
what made him elite. I'm going to put the ball in my receiver's hands. I'm going to put the ball in my running back's hands, and I'm going to let them cook. And that's not a bad thing. But that is clearly what Denver is hoping for. Patrick Surtain is maybe cornerback 1 in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't feel good about this Denver team.
Mm-hmm.
I also think there's a world where they are the worst team in the league.
Yeah, definitely. Us, Denver, Panthers are going to struggle. The Commanders are going to. Yeah, there's 4 or 5 teams that are vying for that number 1 overall pick for sure.
And I don't think that's the worst thing in the world for Denver.
100%.
Like, I think it's being realistic. I also just think the whole way they handled the draft was so corny. Like, yeah, we baited Minnesota. They gave up a 4th round pick to get ahead of us, and we manipulate. Why are you saying, like, I feel like business 101, if we're in a fantasy football league and you and I make a trade and I immediately go to the group chat and go, hey, look at this complete idiot, Moses. Look at this moron. I can't believe he did that trade.
Just
You're going to
fleeced
go,
him.
yes, just fleeced him. Everyone make fun of him. Look at how stupid he is. They're going to go, okay, well, I'm not trading with Zay.
Ever again.
Since this is how you want to act.
Yeah.
You just totally closed off any, if I'm Minnesota, I'm going, bro, what are you talking? Don't call me.
Yeah, F on my phone.
Yeah, like if I'm
Yeah,
if on my phone, your
yeah,
emails go to spam, your calls get blocked. We got
yep.
your burners, they're blocked
Yeah,
too.
they're
Got you
blocked.
blocked on Instagram. There's nothing you can do to talk to us, man. I'm good.
Yep,
So
yep.
I don't know. The Sean Payton spot, throwing Russ under the bus. It's odd. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I agree,
So,
man.
yeah, they're cooked. At 3, same team, Raiders?
I do got Oakland at 3.
Okay.
Um, I completely didn't realize that Christian Wilkins signed a fat deal
Yes.
for them. So that D line is one of the best in the NFL. But outside of that, it's tough kicking in the Vegas seat. I like Gardner coming over, gonna be their starter, I believe.
Yeah. Him or
Um,
Aiden O'Connell, one of the
yeah,
2.
I feel like after the season Minshew had last year, if he has a good camp, he's earned the right to be the starter for this
Agreed.
team.
Agreed.
Um, but little bit of a boneheaded pick, which I'm not mad at the player. Again, similar to a Penix situation, not as bad because quarterback is a little bit more of a commodified
Yeah.
position. But getting Brock Bowers out of Georgia after taking Michael Mayer the year prior, it's a little off unless we're just running jumbo sets all game and we got two
Yeah.
tight ends and I don't know what we're gonna do. I love Bowers. He's gonna be an amazing tight end, but
Agreed.
probably should have went with a different need there unless they saw Mayer in one season and was like, we screwed up. This is not
Yeah.
our guy. So we'll see, man. I think the Raiders are going to have a little bit of a rough season, but definitely some bright spots for them.
Yeah, so I understand the mayor's pick a little, or sorry, Bauer's pick a
The
little.
combo. Yeah.
Yeah, I just totally whiffed, but I kind of get it because of my draft philosophy, and I get it's not everyone's. My philosophy, you take best player available when you're a
Yeah.
bad team.
Yeah.
When you're a good team, if you're Kansas City, I understand being like, okay, this is the best player available, but we don't need a quarterback. So we're going to draft here. That makes
Yep.
sense. But when you are a team that isn't great,
Mm-hmm.
I endorse them to take best player available. If
Yeah.
you think that's Brock Bowers when you're on the board and you pick him, I personally am not mad at that because that's my philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're going to use Mayer in more of a blocking role and use Bowers as the receiving option because that is what he excels at. Bowers is a great blocker as well.
Yep.
Um, so I do see a path where Vegas can be decent, actually. I genuinely could see a world where they're second in this division. Um, and that doesn't mean I feel
Yeah, I actually do agree with that. I forgot the Chargers are in a little bit of a interesting situation with the new head coach,
yep.
new running backs, new a lot
Mhm.
of new in
No
the
new
Chargers
weapons.
land.
Sorry. Um, um, but yeah, I think it's a good team. I think Vegas has a good team. Can they win 9, 10 games? I don't think so.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when you got Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins wreaking havoc, I also really like Jack Jones as a corner if he can stay out of some of the other stuff. He needs to stay on the field, obviously.
I cannot for the life of me believe the Patriots let that guy walk away.
Yeah, that's yeah. So I like him too. I think there is a world where they do that. However, they're guaranteed 2 losses going into this season. You need to keep quiet about Mahomes.
What are you doing?
You need to be quiet.
Like even if like the Ravens or Dolphins did that, it's still like, bro, what are you doing? It's a little bit more justified because they're good, but why would you poke the bear?
And dude, like And I like Antonio Pierce's response being like, "No, we handled that." Because he knows, dude,
Your job's on the line, buddy. You're gonna
Antonio,
lose by
yeah,
60.
yes. Yeah, you do you wanna see my team? Because then I have to go to the podium. And guess what
Yeah.
they're gonna ask me? "Hey, remember in the preseason when you guys were making Muppets saying I effing suck as Mahomes?" Yeah, that probably pissed him off. That's probably why he threw for 5 touchdowns and 700 yards
Oh
against
my
us.
goodness. Yeah.
Like, thank you for that. Like, as if it's hard enough to beat him. And Mahomes' response, him just being like, "It's okay. We'll take care of it," is the scariest response. That's him just like, "All right. No, no, no. I'm not. It's okay. I've got it circled. I'm counting down the days.
Yeah, we're good.
Can't wait. I want to beat you guys anyways because you're in our division. But now, yeah,
Thank you.
it's
Thanks for the fire.
yeah. This
Yep.
how are you? How can a dude who is this successful, you're going to give him more ammunition?
Yeah, man. Just
So
idiotic.
idiotic. So while I think the Raiders could surprise some people, maybe be a team that wins 7, 8 games, um, yeah, y'all are tripping about Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Good luck against them. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, which leads us to 2, and the last team we'll talk about in the AFC. What do you got? What do you got?
I didn't realize they signed both ex-Raven running backs in J.K. Dobbins
Yeah.
and Gus Edwards, which
Had to
is kind
double
of
up.
sick. Kind of sick. Had to replace Eckler somehow. DJ Chark, Hayden Hurst, Will Disley. They signed a lot of guys on offense. Nothing crazy, but a lot of guys, man. I think DJ Chark's a weapon.
He's a weapon, but he is their number 1 receiver. I like Shark too. As a wide receiver 3 or 4 in my offense. I like him a lot in that role.
I think I think I think John sorry, I think Jim's gonna get it done, man.
Wow. Oh, I'm so glad you're going first. So you feel decent about him?
Not a playoff team, but
Nah.
not a playoff team, but
Nah.
maybe 500, maybe a game under, which I like could be a lot worse, but you're kind of wasting a really good quarterback's good prime years here without giving him any help. So it's a little frustrating. So
Yeah. Um I, I think what sucks is like as a massive Justin Herbert supporter, Glazer, just like, hey, no, no, no. It's the guys around him. He's really, really, really good. You got to see it. He's so good because he is. He makes throws that are unbelievable. Top 5-ish quarterback. Um, but it's getting harder and harder to be like, it's not his fault. Because every year that goes by, he has DJ Chark. He has Quentin Johnston, who I already I already said coming in when he was drafted, like, oh, nah. He struggles to catch. I had a talk with our friend Kobe about it, where it was just like, not listen, man. He doesn't have it. Yeah, he's big, he's athletic. He can't catch you the football. He's too slow. And then those things translate. So you have that struggle. Lad McConkey, I like. I
yeah.
really like that pickup.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people are really angry that they took Joe Alt. I think Joe Alt is going to be a Pro Bowl tackle for years to come. I'm
Yeah.
not mad at them taking him over Malik Neighbors or Roma Dunze. But they are a team who, on offense, cannot generate explosive plays because they don't have the personnel. And on defense, can't prevent explosive plays. That is a
Yeah.
recipe for a team not capable of making the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So I have them at 2 strictly off of Herbert.
Yep. Agreed.
Harbaugh coming off a chip at Michigan, has been a guy who has coached here before, who has been successful. Um, so I'm giving them all of those things, leaning them over Vegas and Denver. But man, I mean, this is the worst receiving core in the league.
Probably, yeah.
I don't know which one could be worse. Like even the Panthers improved. I'm taking Deontay Johnson, Xavier Legette, Adam
100%. Yeah.
Thielen. Yeah,
Jeez, man. Yeah, they're screwed. They might be
yeah.
screwed.
It, like I like DJ Shark. Not he's perfect example to Adam Thielen. I really like Adam Thielen. I don't like that he's the number one option in Carolina last year.
Yeah.
That's not his role. That's not what he should be doing, but he is a good receiver. So I think they're cooked, man.
Yeah.
Now next year could be the year.
Mm-hmm.
Could be the year.
Yep.
But I think they'll struggle to make the playoffs in this AFC this year.
For sure.
But yeah, that's the AFC for you.
That's what we got.
That's what we got. Let us know what you think. Who are we underrating? Who are we overrating? If you're a Steelers fan, you're really mad. Hey, they're at 4. Listen, I feel like we made it pretty clear that they're really comparatively to here, the Steelers are clearly better than those 3 teams.
Just like we said with the Seahawks.
Exactly. It's the way the cookie. Yes, all 3 of these teams, and I have the Browns here. All 3 of those teams significantly better than the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way the divisions work. So if that's what we got, but let us know who you got. Who are we high on that you're lower on, vice versa? Do you think the Jaguars are due for a rebound? Do you got the Patriots coming through? They're this year's Texans. What do you got? So let us know in the comments. Thank you for tuning in.
Yep.
And we'll wrap it up with Song of the Pod.
Pats fans, I told you stick around because this song is for you. It Ain't Over Till It's Over by Lenny Kravitz. We got time. We got a good training camp ahead of us. Let's come out, show the world, especially when we're in Wembley Stadium in England, when we're playing the Jacksonville Jaguars in a few weeks, what New England's about.
Yeah.
And let's blow them out of the water.
Yeah.
Let's win by 4.
Yeah, coach. Yeah. Man, sub me in, bro. I'm ready to run through a wall, coach.
My fault.
I got you, bro.
Thanks, man.
I had a song, F that. I'm doing Over by Drake because it's far from over. We're coming back. This is a new era. I'm not even a Pats fan. I don't care.
Yep.
This is a new era of Patriots football coming through. Drake May. He was my QB too.
Yep. He is. He's mine.
Class.
We could be completely wrong, but I'm rocking with it. I'm rocking with it.
But that's my guy, man. I think he's very smart, high IQ football. I like what he's got cooking. So that's what we got. And let us know your thoughts. We'll see you in the next video for awards predictions or peep our NFC video to see what we think about those teams.
For sure.
Thank you for tuning in. Love y'all. We will see you in the next video. Damn, voice crack. Peace out.
See y'all Friday.
Peace.